Well, here we are again, still quarantined, sorta, like it's June 1st. Happy birthday to my brother Dougie. And tomorrow, June 2nd, is my grandmother's birthday. Happy birthday to Luella, who I call Lou. And so, here are these two pieces. You know, I knew I had it all set up, and now that I'm going to start painting, realize I'm gonna have to tilt. Okay, we'll tilt just a little bit. So, last night, we were talking about these pieces. These pieces are wood, but have major veneer issues. They have pieces missing, which you can't see because I have the camera tilted up. I'll post pictures later. I have lots of little damage in the veneer, burn marks from cigarettes or hot pans, veneer missing over, I can't do it backwards, boom, veneer missing, that whole panel. And these have been in the store roughly 3 months. We even marked them down to get them to sell. Nothing. Crickets. So I don't want to hear about, those are wood, don't paint them. So in the middle of the night, or actually evening, enough to the point where I was like, I'm going to go back up to the store and paint. But I was tired, it was late. I wish they were at my house studio, but they're heavy, so we're going to paint them here. I decided there's one color that we don't sell that much of, which shocks me. And watch, it's the last jar of that color here in stock. Now I'm going to order some more, but it's going to take about 3 weeks due to COVID-19 shipping issues. So here we go. I'm going to go with cobalt blue. If I painted these white or neutral gray or even a happy yellow, they're going to sell right away. But I have a plan for these, and it's going to be boho messy, boho chic, boho fun for me. So I decided I paint a lot of white stuff, I paint a lot of neutrals, or I paint crazy colors, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go with it. So cobalt blue. I haven't decided if I'm starting with this one or that one, so I'm just going to start. I may do both of them, but I've got to get 2 really good coats on these. So the first coat is just gonna be a get it on there. And then the second coat are when things really start to pop. And then I've got some accenting to do with 2 other colors, which I haven't completely decided on yet. And then I think I'm even going to hit it with some metallics, moonshine metallics. So, and then I'm going to clear coat it. This is going to be a 7 to 15 day venture because I'm going to paint, go home, paint, and we're open during the store part-time. I think we're open 2 to 6 Tuesday through Friday this week, and 12 to 4 Saturday and Sunday. Still with mask on. I do not have my mask on because I'm the only one here, and there's no one else here. So I do have my mask, but I don't have it on. Cobalt blue. I am going to use, yes, I have a fan on, keep me cool because there's no AC in. This is the French tip from Italy that Dixie Belle sells. And we have one of these in the store, and this one is mine. And we have the Dixie Belle oval medium brush. We have these in the store. This is synthetic, this is natural hair. This one's made in America. This is the Mini Belle. You can see this is the one I personally use. Again, I've mentioned over 100 times. I've used this for a year, I think. So, good brush. And I'm gonna use all 3, or I might just end up using one or the other. So here we go. I can't decide. I may, I can't decide which one to start with. Because you know what's going to happen. As soon as I put a little bit of paint on this, even if I have to stop before I finish today, like today I'm just trying to get the first coat on, someone will message us and say, hey, I saw that on your Instagram, or hey, I saw that on Facebook Marketplace. By the way, follow us, The Other Side Vintage, on those places. I want to buy those 2 pieces. I'm going to paint them white. As soon as I put paint on them, it's going to happen. You know how like when you lose something in your house, and you swear you're going to find it, and you finally give up and say, I'm just going to buy another one? As soon as you buy that other one and get home, you find that thing you were missing. So, just saying, that's what's going to happen. All right, which one? Which one do I start on? The vanity or the wardrobe? The vanity or the wardrobe? I can't decide which one to start on. You know what? I'm going to be lazy. I think I'm going to sit on the ground and paint the vanity. So I'm going to be away from the camera. I'm going to be facing away. I won't be able to see what you're saying, but if you want to do a shout out or a question, I'll be trying to answer them later. If you want to mute me, mute me and just leave it going, and then you can fast forward and see it go. So I think, because I'm lazy, I'm gonna sit on the ground and start on this one. Here we go, watch. Someone's gonna message me about buying it once I put the paint on there. There you go. Let's see, if I sit here, you might can see more. We'll see. Either way. I also have my misting bottle. Some have a red top, some have a black top. They're still the same, they're a fine mister. I have the fan blowing on me. I may have to turn it on and off, because, yeah. And I am gonna paint the sides, but because you can't see it, I think I'll just start with what you can see. So here we go. I'm opening the last Cobalt, so you know someone's gonna come in tomorrow and want this color. And it's gonna take 3 weeks to get it again, but here we go. Cobalt, blue. Let's see. Info medium or this? I think I'm gonna go with my mini brush to start. I'm gonna spray it just a little bit. Come on. Of course, my sprayer. There we go. If I can see, I'll shout out to you, but I am just gonna dip right into this. Of course, the fan's gonna blow this package and everything away, so here we go. Go ahead, email me, tell me you want to buy it now. Tell me you want it unpainted and you want to buy it just as it is, because I put the first little bit of paint on it. You know someone's going to email me now off of Marketplace or Instagram or Etsy. So it is going to take, even though it's a dark color, it will take 2 coats. So I'm going to go ahead and get that first coat on. Just worry a little bit about drips. This is very thick paint. We water it down to make it go smoother at times so it doesn't drag so much, but it's a good coverage paint. So I'm just going to get it on there. And what was I going to say? The whole point. Oh, the last hour, the reason why I'm all sweaty hot already and have a fan on is because it took me an hour to professionally clean these. An hour. And I'll post the pictures later of the rag I used and the water that I used to keep getting it back off. It took an hour of dirty, dirty water. And these had already been cleaned before. There you go. Always want to clean your piece first. Am I right in the way? Of course. Another thing to keep in mind, I just painted the stores. You can't see, but see how this drawer, you want to see how this goes in? It actually goes in about 1/4 of an inch, more so than when it sits where it's supposed to be. So you want to make sure to paint that lip, because if you don't, someone's going to push it all the way in and they're going to see it. So you always want to paint the inset of all your drawers. I'm leaving the drawers in, but I'm still going to paint the insets. If you're thinking right now, yes, I want cobalt blue, there's antebellum blue, in the Bunker Hill blue, and there's another blue that's very similar in tone. So even though I'm out because I'm using the last jar and I won't get it in for 3 weeks, you can order those. And we do ship, and if you spend more than $50 on paint products and supplies, we ship for free in the USA. Sorry, we ship for $10, not free. $10. down here and here, you think that's an inlay of wood. It is not. It is a print that is decoupaged on there and heavily, heavily adhered. So it's supposed to look like fancy inlay work. It's not real. Otherwise, I would be painting over this. Where's everybody watching from? Not bad, huh? It's very bright. It's very like, gotcha. That's what I want. Just wait till I add the accenting colors and the gold metallics, or it might be a copper or silver metallic. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be really cool. Boho chic. Boho messy. The fan is blowing the brushes. I can paint inside because there's no smells. It's very low VOCs. There's absolutely no smell, no paint smell, no chemical smell. There's no smell whatsoever. Right in the way we're going to paint. That's what I do. I have limited space here. Again, don't freak out. This is not inlay. This is just a decoupage print. Adhere to these to make them look more fancy. It's a way to save money. I think these are from like probably the 40s, and that's typical of that. When you get a lower end or a middle end, the inlay would be higher price, so they put the faux for people who wanted to middle America be able to afford it, but look fancy. So don't freak out thinking I'm painting over some amazing inlay. I'm not. And one thing about using a darker color on a darker wood is this will bleed a little bit, the tannins will come through, and when you use a light color like white neutral, you have to use what's called BOSS before, a primer, blocks, odors, seals, and I guess smells is what it stands for, but BOSS it, or a primer of your choice. I did not have to prime it because I'm using a darker color, and that'll help with the tannins showing up. You're using white, you've got to do about 6 more steps. Hence why a lot of furniture painters charge more for white. People think it's easier, but it does take a lot more layers and time. Okay, we're getting to a part where it's got a lot of details. I'm going to go ahead and start using my oval medium brush. I'm going to get it a little wet. That way I can get into these insets a lot easier. It's almost like just dabbing the paint into the insets. I know I'm blocking it exactly. Maybe if I go back over here, it would be better. Is that better? Okay. Now that I'm done with that little section, I'm going to go back to my mini brush and use that. You probably can't even tell that there's this detail in the bottom, but once you start painting it, it really pops. Back to the oval because of those little insets. Can you guys see that? I know I'm getting to the part where this pink table's blocking it, so I'll try to just work on it a little bit. These are applied appliques made out of wood that they put on, they glued, and they actually screwed two of these on with screws too. And so it's easier to use this brush to get into all those creases and turns. It's 3D, it's coming out at you. Switch back. Alright, and then there's broken veneer over there. I'm going to get on that a little bit. I wish I could pull this around. I have it on dollies or wheels at my house studio, which is my dining room. And I would move this out. I may actually move this pink out so you can see. Let me try that. I should have thought of that beforehand. Watch me break all these glass breakables that Brooklyn displayed so nicely. See, or is that still blocking? All right, a little bit better there. You can see now this is for sale. All right, and let me get the glass off the floor. This piece of glass, by the way, it says 66 Navy, 1966 Navy. See this? It goes right here. Let me show you. It actually becomes a hidden compartment under the glass for makeup and such. I took it off so I can paint in that inset, which I'll get to in just a bit. Now, am I going to block it? Probably. I'm going to go ahead and use my Mr. bottle and put on here. And remember, I've already cleaned this really, really well with a professional cleaner called White Lightning. We sell that. You can also use Dawn soap or vinegar and water, but just make sure that you rinse it back down with fresh water 3 or 4 times afterwards to make sure that vinegar doesn't sit in there, because vinegar will eat the paint and all your nice work will just go down the drain. And if you're overwhelmed about painting a big piece like this, if you consider this big, just remember this paint, you can just wrap it up in a Publix bag or a Walmart bag, a plastic bag, put a wet baby towel, baby wash on it, or a paper towel wet in there, put it in your refrigerator or just sit it out. Let's say you get a phone call or you get to help the kids with something, you can go back hours later and still use the same brush. So you can take a break, and you would just put the cap back on the paint and just leave it here and come back to it. So you can take a break. You can break it down in sections and say, I'm just going to do the front and then I'm going to go do the laundry. Or I'm going to do the front and I'm going to go do my math homework, or, you know, go out to have lunch at the crumb box or the craft house or wherever. I suggest those places. They're at Railroad Square, by the way. Now, I pushed the drawer in because I want to get all through the insets. See, if I had it on wheels, I would just wheel it over so you can see it right now. But instead, I'm blocking it. Let me move over here. Maybe you can see it a little better. Put a little bit of butter on there. Switch brushes to my oval medium to get into this inset from the bottom. Switch back to the mini. It just drips, so hence why I'm wearing a shirt that I can just rub the paint on. You can also just wash it with soap and water, it'll come off. If you let it dry and cure though, it becomes fabric paint and will not come off. So make sure you wipe it off within a good 30 minutes or less. I really like how the paint went into where the broken veneer was and makes it really look elegant now. You almost don't even notice that the veneer is chipped. It just hides it really well. It's looking good. Let me make sure I get under here. Under here. Make sure you step back and look at things from across the room when you're painting. You'll see things underneath that you wouldn't see this close, and you want to touch up a paint. Look at it from all angles. Alright, let me see. I might do this part here, the tops you can see. I'm trying to see what you guys can see, and then I'll paint the rest that you can't see, like the sides off camera. Okay. Now, let's stand up. This is when I'll get a headache. Not from the paint, but from the standing upside down. I am going to paint inside this hidden compartment that the mirror that I showed you will cover, just because when they open it up, I want it to look nice in there too. So I am going to go ahead and paint it, even though that won't be seen very often. let's do the tops now. Or better yet, let's do this inset part. Again, this looks like really darling little hand-painted flowers, and they've actually started to rust and mold because of water issues in the past, because it's just paper that makes it look like something. Yes, I'm stepping on my brush. There, you move that over. So I'm just going to paint right over it. It's just a decoupage piece. It's not a true hand-painted piece. I did not take the mirror and put tape around it or newspaper. I'm going to paint, and if paint gets on the mirror, I'm just going to use one of those little schnitty razor blades and get that off later. That'll be one of the last things I do after I do everything else a couple days from now. Huge difference. I know it's coming off purplish, but it's cobalt blue. It's drying and it goes, kind of looks a little purplish against the brown, but it's definitely a race car blue, as I would call it. I'm going to lean under and get that lip that you can't see until you're standing from afar. There. And I'll touch it up in the corners. There. So just get a base coat on there. This is just like getting primer. You just want to put it on there. Don't worry about technique. You just want to get it on. Make sure there's no obvious drips or anything to make it easier on you so you don't have to sand it back so much. And then you just let it dry. Matter of fact, over there is almost dry already. I'm going to give it a little spray. When it starts to drag just a little bit, or just a little bit of pressure, just put a little bit of water on it, it becomes like easy peasy to spread. It's not like horrible, but you'll feel it. It's just like, I don't know how to explain it, but you'll feel it. Just a little bit of resistance, and you're like, oh, time to spray. Good. Over here is where it's damaged. It looks like someone put a hot, almost like a dinner plate and let it burn. And so the clear coat that they've had on there for many decades crackled. And I've sanded it, I've cleaned it, and it's just no way to save it. So I'm going to paint over it, and you're not even going to notice it. The wood's good. It's just like when you get a sunburn and it cracks a little. So this will fill in those cracks and really make it good. There's also veneer missing here and here. And this will really make it shine. Sometimes I start naming my pieces. I know, sorry, I'm up here standing. I haven't named this one yet. Okay, looking good. There. So there you go. I'm going to do around here. You can't see the mirror that well, but it has a little edge here. Do you see that? It's about 1 inch all the way around. Lots of details. I might go ahead and move them. Let's see if I can get that camera to go up at all. Ooh, I'm beet red, you guys. Now, let's see if we can make that stay. Kinda, sorta. It wants to move, but let me tell you, it's precariously up here, so I can't move it quite too far, so. Yay! Again, I didn't mark off the mirror with tape or newspaper because I'm just going to use a razor blade to get off any that I get on there. And I'm going to go ahead and spray my brush. Maybe I'm going to do the oval. You know what? I'm going to switch to the oval just because of its size. It'll make it a little easier. You can use the mini though. I use the mini for everything. But since I have my oval brush, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Because of these wooden appliques that's on here. There's these little tools to hold the mirror in, the little brads with the little holes, the plastic. They're old. I'm going around them for now. I may end up painting them, but right now I'm just going around them. And because I have this brush here, it's really easy to go around if you just take a few extra little steps. Take your time. A little bit more water for my brush. Starting to see it now. All right. A lot of detailing at the top of that wood applique they have up there. So again, this is when it's really good to have this particular brush. I'm also getting the tops of the mirror in case someone has a 2-story room. Would help if I was a little bit taller or had a little stool, but I'm just doing what I can. I'm going to be right in the way of the camera. side because it's 3D. And I'll miss some spots. Go back and look at it from all angles. A little bit on that little piece that holds it on. Since it's still wet, I'm just going to wipe it off with my finger. Use a shirt that you can just wipe off on. And even if I did get on there and didn't have something to wipe it off on, you can use a little sanding brush to get off there later. Let it dry first. But if you can get it while it's still wet, go ahead and get it. probably the hardest part because it's the most boring part. You've had to clean the piece, as you see, I'm red from cleaning. Took an hour to do that, and this is just getting it on there. It's not the fun part where you start using funky colors and techniques and really making it pow. It's just the base color, and you're like, okay, that's boring. It used to be woodish, and now it looks kind of bright and like funky, and I don't know if I like this. It's gonna get messy before it gets really fun and good. So just keep that in mind. Make sure, like I just did now, I looked back and I saw places I missed, so just look back. And like this inset here is going to need maybe 3 coats because it's really taken in. Don't go back over it right now while it's still drying, even though you're hesitant to go back and just do it, because it'll take some of the paint back off possibly. So it's better just to let it sit, kind of let it cure up a little bit. Just another 20 minutes. If I wasn't going to have to leave soon, what I would do is I would go do a little bit of paperwork. I would take my fans down there and face it on there to give it a little bit more quick drying time, because I don't mind if it dries quickly. And what I mean by that is some pieces you want it to really take its time, and you don't want it to be, especially when you want it super, super like the whites, the neutrals, I don't put the fans on them. I let them take longer. But with this, because you're going to be doing so many different layers, this first layer, you just want to get it dry. So there you go. Again, it's drying. It kind of looks purple on the screen, but I'm telling you, it's a cobalt race car blue color. Let's see if I can. There. It is coming off purple on the video I see right now, because I would say, looking at that, that's purple. It's not purple. It's cobalt blue. So again, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If it's really humid, it is very humid in Tallahassee, but I am inside. But even inside, it's really hot because there's no air conditioner on in the gallery. 20 minutes, 40 minutes, you'll see. You can tell it's dry because when it dries, it's less shiny. I know that first part I started is definitely dry. So I could go ahead and start on it. By the time you're done, you usually could just wait a few minutes and then start, just do what you did again. I did not do the sides yet because I have to crawl back there. I don't have them on dollies like I do, like I said, when I do other lives. I don't have it on those little rolling wheels, so I have to get back there, and you can't see what I'm doing anyways, and it's just plain sides. There's no molds, there's no insets. So I'm just gonna get a coat on there and let it dry. But since I'm using the same color on this piece, and it's not because they match, it's just because I have this jar already open, and I like to go ahead, if I have a jar open, do a couple, like if there's another little side table or something, go ahead and use it on 2 or 3 pieces at the same time. That way, when you set up your pieces, even if they didn't match technically, when someone comes in, you put them in a vignette, they're like, okay, I want the vanity. Oh, that side table has the same colors in it. I'm gonna get that, or it just helps. And you've already got the brushes wet, you've already got the paint going, you've already got it on your hands, which is easy to come off, by the way. This is water-based, not oil-based, so I can just wipe this off with soap and water. So I think, I don't know how long I'm going to do it because I have to leave soon, but I'm going to go ahead and start on this piece. Again, this piece is chipped, so don't yell at me. It's a lot of fake woodwork that looks like, this looks like very intricate inlay. It's not. It's just a paper, piece of paper, like a poster board like kind of thing with that look, and they decoupage by gluing it on, so it makes it look like it's that tiger burled wood. It's not. It's paper. It's just decoupaged on there. These accents are really wonderful. They're wood accents that they have glued on, but here, several pieces have come off. So right now it looks broken. People are like, oh, it's broken. But when you paint it, and then what we're gonna do to it, then it's like, ooh, that really pops. That really makes it. So that's why I wait, see if anybody buys it, and then when I have time, I decide what I'm gonna paint it. I normally don't use cobalt blue, but again, it was the last jar, and I wanted to use it in my head all night long. I was thinking cobalt blue. I think it's because it's summer coming up and blue waters. It's Florida. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this. I think I'm going to, you know what, since we're already up here, I'm going to start, I usually, for some reason I start from the bottom. I sit and get lazy and do it as far as I can, and then I stand. But since I'm already standing, I'm going to go ahead and hit this piece up. Again, I have two different brushes. I'm using the mini brush and I'm using my oval medium. I'm going to go ahead and use my mini brush to start. I'm going to spray it. The brush itself still has paint on it from that project next to us. It's drying. And I'm just going to go start on it. This piece has been completely cleaned professionally with white lightning, and then it took me about 7 times around with a bowl of clear water, cold clear water, and just a white rag, an old t-shirt, whatever you got, to wipe it down, put it in there, and if it comes out, it's still got dirt in it, you throw that water away, put more water in it, clean out your rag, or get another rag, do it, and it took me 7 times before the water was finally clear, which means it was finally completely clean. So that took an hour. Do you see how much paint is up there? Did you notice? I didn't dip back in the jar. I just sprayed my brush that I was using for that piece. This was the leftover paint. And I got that whole swath. I know you can't see the whole thing because I'm not going to do it, but I didn't even have to add paint. I'm going to add paint now, but the paint goes really far. Just use your spray bottle. This is a 16-ounce jar, and I think I have used 1/10 of it, if that. So it goes really far. This is all that inset work. I'm going to go ahead and do this first, and then I'm going to switch to my oval medium to get into all those 3D wood appliques they have put on there, those wood moldings they attached. Again, this is a real wood piece. This that you're seeing is just a light, thin, I think it's called Luan, or even thinner than Luan, veneer to make it look like this wood is all inlay and like a nice wood. It's really good, it's solid wood, but that is veneer, so don't yell at me for painting a piece, I promise you. It's okay. Need more water. I can tell when it starts to drag a little bit or pull a little bit of friction. When it starts to be just a little bit more effort than you need, just spray with your fine mister again. Do not use a spray bottle that is not a fine mister, little mist, like a spray bottle, like a Windex bottle. The reason why is it comes out in like little droplets, thick ones. I used those for a while, but it makes a difference, and then when it dries, you'll see those little droplets. Like whenever it just barely rains on your car, and you have pollen on your car, and you come out and you see the little raindrops left, same thing. It looks like it's okay when it's going on wet, but when it dries, you see those little droplets, and you have to sand back. So better just to use a fine mister, and you won't have to deal with that at all. A fine mister is like $12, $12.50. And you can use it for years. Wipe my hand off. That's what we're sure. See all the other colors I have? I am painting right over the hinges too. On this piece, the technique that I'm going to use for the final, I am painting over the hinges. Sometimes I don't paint the hinges, especially when I use whites a lot of times and neutrals. Well, that's not true. Even with whites, I tend to sometimes paint the hinges. But just know, it's okay to go over the hinges. Going quickly, I could go ahead and do that, but you can't see it, so I'm going to start over here I'm going to switch brushes over to that oval medium just because it can really get into these details that I'm about to do. Again, just remember, this is faux, it's veneer. I'm not hurting anything. I get a little bit of water on my brush. This drawer has a little bit of an inset here over the edges. It goes in a little bit more than it was built to go in, so I'm going to paint that lip. I did clean that lip with the professional cleaner I was talking about earlier. I'm going to go ahead and get my paint inside that lip by using this brush to really get it in there by just dabbing it, because otherwise you'll forget it. And if you pull it out to where it's supposed to be, even with the thing, you know someone's going to push that drawer all the way in. It's just like 1/4 of an inch, or maybe not even that much, but you'll see that little bit of a lip, so it's good to go ahead and paint the insets. I could take the drawer out and do that. It's so much easier in this case to leave the drawer in because I can see exactly. I did take the drawer out and clean the lip, get all the dust and clean it professionally, but as far as painting it, I could paint the lip. There's sometimes when I take the drawer out and I paint that lip, put the drawer back in and push it in, and there's still just the tiniest bit that you missed. It's better because each drawer and each thing is different, just to take them one by one and to work on them like uniquely. See how far they go in. Paint that inset. It only takes a few extra steps, and it's worth it. All right. Don't freak out. Again, that's that decoupage piece. That is not a real inlay. That is a piece of paper that had a burled wood look to it. That they used to do that to make it look a higher end for a cheaper price. It's real wood, but that's a decoupage piece. This is already, it's hard to tell. Can you, yeah, I think you can see. Can you see from here to about here, it's already dry. Here to here, it's still wet. See the difference? It dries very fast. And if I put the fan directly on it instead of the fan blowing on me, it would be dry in no time. Hey you guys, thanks for watching. Are you guys at work, or are you watching from home, or where are you watching from? Came to this side so because it's a 3D inset, applique, and even though I thought I got it covered, there were still some pieces that were showing, so make sure you come back with that from the other way. You want to go up, down, same thing with the handles, go up, down, all the way around, and you'll get it. No worries, get it done that base coat, and then you won't have to worry about it. Makes it so much easier. Now see, I'm touching places that are almost dry, and it's pulling it back off because I went by so quick. Let it rest. When that starts to happen, just leave it alone. The second coat and the third coat, if this one needs a third coat, just of this base color. It's going to have lots of coats because of the technique we're going to use on it, but If it starts pulling back, just leave it alone for a few minutes. Don't get frustrated. Don't say, oh, I ruined it. Oh, I gotta sand it back. No. Just leave it be. Let it heal. Kind of like a kid who's in a bad mood that's sulking, and no matter what you said, the kid's feisty. Just step away from the kid. When you get quiet, they'll get quiet. Let them readjust. So the piece, just let it settle. And then it'll work with you again. No reason to fight it. Just let it work with you. Work with it. Says me with no children. Sorry, I almost jumped. The hotel that's being built next door, it's lunchtime or break time, and the construction guys come and sit right on our front porch when we're not open. And I can hear the whole conversation, and then they were laughing, and all of a sudden it just kind of got me. I was like, a loud noise. We're all jittery right now, I know, but I thought it was funny. They were actually laughing and slapping their laps and laughing. So, but at first I was like, who's here? Those guys are so nice. Okay, the veneer has a lot of chunks out of it here on this side. Probably where someone used a screwdriver or something to open this up. So I'm using this brush to really get in there, and then I'm going to switch back to my mini brush to do the flats. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and spray my brush. It's been sitting for a minute. In a minute, I think I'm going to go ahead and continue here, but then I'm going to move it down so you can see. I was going to say I'm going to sit, but I'm still going to stand for this one. Go ahead and move it down. Again, this is the boring part, I know. The technique part, when you put the bright colors later, that's my favorite part. Let's see, can I get this to... Boom. That might work. Still not angled, is it? Oops. Didn't mean to make you dizzy there. Oops. Want you to see this bottom part, but it's right between the two. Will the tripod stay? Okay. Again, that down there is not fancy inlay work. It is a decoupage addition they put on top to make it look fancy. It is just a print, like a poster. So don't be upset about me painting that. Now I get to sit down. Word of advice, take the top to your paint that you tend to sit over here and move it. I've set in my paint many times. And when you sit in it and you get that wet, like, ugh, and yeah. I did it in red the other day, and it looked like I was bleeding. Yeah. Because I didn't know at first, and I was like, oh, I'm bleeding. I'm like, no, you just set in lots of paint. Everyone else knows that, but I'm just trying to tell you in case you make that mistake like I did. Fans blowing my hair right in my face. drawer here has a lot of inset issues, even at the top. It's even at the bottom, but at the top it has, again, that little inset. So again, that's why I'm saying treat each drawer individually, because they'll have different, especially when they're antique or old like this. Wear and tear of one drawer over another one is common. So just treat them individually. Make sure you get all their little spots and their insets up top and side and on the lip to the next one. And you can take the drawers out if you want. Like I said, I did take them out to clean those insets with a professional cleaner to make sure everything would stick. Some people like to keep the drawers out and just paint them outside, like, you know, leave them here and paint the tops. I've done that too. But I like to see with these older pieces where they go in, and make sure you keep the drawers in order, because they are individuals. They fit snugly with these hand-built real wood, and as things like the heat and the moisture in the air makes wood contract and expand, each drawer has its own little personality. So I like to, like I said, leave them in. I do paint them outside as well. Sometimes it just depends, but on these older pieces, I like to treat them like that. Okay, hold on. Because of this right here, I'm going to switch to the oval medium. I'm just going to real quick switch out, just get a little bit of paint on there. It'll get in these grooves, and these grooves are going to be important later. This is going to be some really neat techniques going on in these little insets. So I want to make sure that that glue gets really in there so that the next step really pops. Go up, sideways, and I'm going to dab too. Make sure it gets in there. And again, this is just the first coat, so on the second coat, you'll catch anything you possibly missed probably. Okay. I can feel it dragging already. It's because I'm sitting right by the fan that's hitting that brush. I'm actually going to spray a little bit on the piece. I prefer to spray my brush so I can control it. And it keeps less opportunity for trips, but on that one part I could tell it needed it. I'm just feathering the handles by going over it and then lightly touching it with little feather strokes. I can hear the construction guys again. They're so happy. They work really hard and they laugh really a lot. Nice guys. I would say girls, but I don't think there's any girls on this particular thing. Construction site. That hotel is going to be gorgeous, by the way. It's an extended stay one. It's right next door to us, literally. And right here at FAMU and FSU. We're 1 block from FAM and 1 block from FSU, right in the middle of the greatest part of Tallahassee, I say. I say Lake Ella and Railroad Square because I'm from here, and those are just some of my personal favorite places. And San Luis Park. I love San Luis Park. Love their trails, their nature trails. I know a lot of you guys go to Tom Brown Park a lot, but if you get a chance to go to San Luis Park, take your dogs, go on the wood walking trails. I think it's 3 miles if you do the whole thing, but they have places where you can stop and signs, and it's really well done. Lots of beautiful flowers, butterflies, the trees, owls, woodpeckers. I mean, it is amazing. It's right in the middle of the city, yet it's this haven of amazing stuff. I love it. The city even installed a water fountain in Lake Esther, which is at the park, Lake Esther, and the boardwalk, and there's a dog park. Like, if you don't want to walk your dog on leash, you can take them off leash at the dog park. It's really well done. I love that park. believe it or not, down here, and I'll try to take a picture later, I can't bring the camera, there is a chunk of veneer, or a chunk of the wood actually missing, a huge chunk. So when you look at it, you're like, ooh, damaged. But when the paint goes over, and then the technique, your eye, it diffuses the eye, and it doesn't go right to the damage, or the missing chunk. It's not damaged, it's functional. It's just got a chunk out of it. You know, it's been loved and used. So when you do this paint technique, you probably won't even notice it until someone points it out. Here we go. I am painting over, not expensive inlay, not real wood, just that piece that they had decoupaged on, a faux wood. Okay, it's dragging. It'll start dragging even more as you get further in your paint and your paint starts working down your brush. Usually it's just the tip, and as I've been working its way down. You get a little bit more drag mark. You could even rinse out the brush and go in the sink and just rinse it out and keep going, or you can start off with a different brush, like another same brush, but I'm fine with using the same one. It washes out. It's similar to when you're baking and you use one bowl to mix all the stuff in. Same with the brush to me. It's like 2 brushes, so 2 bowls, so you don't have to have like 6 different, bowls or 6 different brushes. Just keep using it. Even sometimes when I switch colors, if I'm doing one piece of furniture, one color, and then the next one's sitting next to it because I'm working on both, a different color, just dip in, I contaminate, and go. Because the first coat's going to get covered up again anyway, so it really doesn't matter. People freak out when I do that, but I'm like, you're not going to see it. Whether I paint it white or whatever, the first coat, what's left on the brush is going to get washed down the drain. May as well use it. Consider it part of the primer, because that's what it becomes. I also have a home decor sprayer, and I could have sprayed this. I would have put about 10 to 20% water compared to whatever paint I put in the sprayer, the home decor sprayer. I don't have it with me right now. And I could have sprayed both these pieces very quickly. I didn't want to have, I wasn't going to move them, but I didn't want to have Jason to have to move them heavy up and downstairs to our studio, the house, which is our dining room, to use the sprayer or on a patio. So once you start painting, hand painting is a lot of fun because you actually get to know the details of this piece. And when someone buys it, it's almost like fostering a cat or a dog when you foster a kitty or a rescue dog, and you've got them to go from sad to happy, and they're fed now, and they've learned, to follow command, and they're loving, and then you're handing them over to someone. It's like, oh, my baby. I worked in all these little nooks and crannies for hours. Enjoy. It is. It's like giving up your baby. It's so much fun. All right, I'm going to switch. I don't know if you can tell, this is pretty much dry here. You can see it's a little bit wet here, and I'm going to start working over here, so maybe if I stay like this, it won't be so much in your way of viewing. Almost done, you guys. I know we still have the sides, and I know you can see the side of this one. There's no appliques on the side, so I'm just going to do a quick coat of base paint in this cobalt blue that we're using. There's a lot of detail here at the bottom, so again, I'm going to take my oval medium. I am going to spray it, get it a little bit wet, and I'm going to just get that taken care of real quick. I could just use the mini brush I'm using, but sometimes it's just as quick just to get on there. Okay, see how quick that was? Spray this again. You see I'm getting paint on this drop cloth, which is actually just wrapping paper we use to wrap up the fragile stuff that people buy or store. I just laid down a couple papers. Recycled paper, so please don't worry. We recycle as much as possible. We even have recycled bags that say the other side vintage right now. They're pink. I love them. They're $2, so you can pick those up. Support us. When you come in the store, you'll see them hanging up at the desk. Alright, this is a door. I'm not going to open it right now because it's still damp. There's an inset here. I noticed that again when I was cleaning this piece, so I went ahead and opened it and cleaned all around the inset of the door of the wardrobe. But I'm going to leave, I wonder if I can, hold on, I'm going to try this. Ta-da-da! There you go. So I lied. I'm good. Just so you can see, there's a lip. Now, if I painted this much, there's still going to be a little bit showing, so I'm going to go ahead and open it and just get a little bit. I do not want to paint the inside. This is cedar lined. The veneer in front is veneered. This is cedar. And so I'm just going to turn my brush and use the flat side and go away from me and not get it on that cedar. Touch that up. I'm just putting a very light coat. I don't want it to be soaking wet. I want it to dry almost immediately. Right there. And then I hit some of the cedar, so I'm going to pull my finger and just pull that out, wipe it off of my shirt. There. All done. I'm just going to give it a second, and while I'm doing that, I can't decide if I'm going to paint this part. You know why? If I paint this part, it's so tight and snug, it's going to pull the paint off every time they open it. So I think I'm going to keep it and just sand it back a little bit where I got a little bit of the paint on it, and that way, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's nice when you open it up to have this part painted, but in this case, that's the real cedar. I'm just gonna, like I said, I got a little bit on it from when I painted it with the door closed. I'll sand that back, but I think I'm gonna choose to leave that be. Okay, dry enough now. That's not touching snugly, so it's fine. If it was snugly, I'd let it dry like a good 20 minutes so it doesn't stick. Because I did the top part first while I was standing, this part that's going into the dry part, I'm just feathering lightly. Where they touch, just feather up lightly. Otherwise, you have a chance to make it kind of goopy, and you put too much because you've got 2 layers of paint in this 3 inches of space because you did it and stopped and did it. So you just want to feather it lightly. Again, you're going to do a whole other coat later, but you don't want there to be this 3-inch space where it's a little bit thicker. Just feather it lightly. And down here, get that coat on there. There. You can see the difference in the color between where it is dry and where it's not. There's some dings in this veneer, so I'm going to go crossways to catch those insets. Yes, I'm painting over the hinges. I talked about that a little bit ago. And then I'm going to feather it up. Almost done. I know these look crazy, this cobalt blue. Y'all are going, ugh. Wait till it's done. Wait until everything that is meant for it is done. It'll be very regal, and it's boho chic, fun colors. Feather that into that other spot. Just remember going into that dry part. Now, there's a little ding here in the veneer, so I am going to tap. I'm going to tap there, and tap here, and then I'm going to feather it up. There's a spot there. Feather it up. Otherwise, just leave it, and it'll catch on the second coat. Sometimes if you go back and try to fix things because you're like, oh, it's going to look horrible, you're going to pull the paint back off, let it dry at least 20 minutes, and then when you do the second coat, you're gonna be like, I can't even believe I worried about that spot. It covered it fine. So again, this is just your first coat. I'm going, let's see. I don't have enough room to stand on the side while I'm filming, I don't think. So you can see the piece behind me, the vanity. This is the wardrobe. This is cobalt blue. I also like to call it race car blue. We also have antebellum blue and Bunker Hill and the navy blue, all very similar to this color, a little bit less. So if you want those, this was my last jar of Cobalt. I won't get any more in for 3 weeks of that particular color, but we have 60 something other colors, 63 other colors I think. I did not sit on the cap. I told you guys earlier I have a bad habit of accidentally scooting back and sitting on it, but I didn't. Just gonna put this is a plastic jar with a plastic lid, so easy to hold on to, easy to put back on. If I've gotten a phone call and I need to take a break, I just sit my brush down on the side with a wet paper towel wrapped around it and a Publix or Walmart bag wrapped around it, just to kind of keep it damp and reuse it within a couple hours, or rinse it out in the sink and use it again. I'm just looking at it. This chalk paint is very matte, which means a flat matte color or sheen. In the end, no matter, everyone's like, I don't like chalk paint, I don't like that flat look or that matte look. Just remember, no matter what you do with it, it's the final coat of your sealer. We have flat matte, it's called flat, but it's a matte. It'll look just like this, but sealed with a clear sealer, kind of like fingernail polish, but not glossy. And then we have satin, which is a little bit of a sheen, satin gloss. And then we have glossy, which is glossy. So even though the paint is chalk paint and flat, you can either stick with flat clear coat and keep it this way, which is kind of like a farmhouse look, some people call it, satin, or glossy. So you can put that glossy on and it'll look just like you use spray paint, that glossy that some people love. We also have gator hide sealer, and that is a satin sheen only, and that's, I wouldn't put gator hide on these except for maybe the top of the vanity. And the reason why is if someone puts their drink on it, it's more for dining room tables, in tables you might put a drink on without a coaster. It's just an extra layer of really, really good waterproof sealant, also very similar to polyacrylic, water-based, so you can use that too. So I'm just looking up because these insets, I'm looking to see if I missed anything from under. And I know that sounds silly because most people are going to be standing upright or across the room, but if this is for a little kid, which it can be, they can be playing on the ground, you get down on the ground and play with them, you look up and you'll see the insets weren't painted underneath, and that's awful. And so I make sure, look at it at all different angles, kind of take it in. Yay, it's drying. So right now, I could pop back over and start on this one again, and go ahead and start with that second coat, because I know that's dry. The whole thing is dry. But I've got things to do, and I think I'm going to stop at this point. I'm going to finish the sides that I didn't get to, since you guys can't see them anyways. If I had these on dollies, I would turn it so you can see. Let me just see real quick how hard that's going to be. Excuse me as I stand up so ungracefully. Ta-da! Thank you for following the other side, you guys. It's been 90 days of all us businesses at Railroad Square really struggling. All the businesses over the whole world actually struggling. What am I talking about? But being locally owned and family owned and operated, it's been crazy. And you guys have really come through by ordering paints that we ship to you, even not in Tallahassee, or even shipping to Tallahassee, curbside pickup. We have been able to open a couple hours a day, and we wear a mask, and I don't have my mask on because there's nobody else here. We're closed on Monday, so I just can't thank you enough. Thank you so much. Let's see what I can do. This may be bad. Not so bad. Not bad. I got it turned without, yeah. All right, so you can, hey you guys, again, I haven't been able to see any comments because I've been working, so I'll try to go back and answer any questions. If you're bored, just mute me and watch it later or whatever, but I think since I'm standing here and the brush is still wet and I did get it turned around, I'm going to go ahead and paint this real quick. So excuse me, as I said I wasn't going to, but I'm going to. So again, just open that jar back up. Don't, remember where you put this so you don't sit on it. That's only a Zan mood. My move, my name is Zan, by the way. That's my move, always to accidentally sit in the paint. Okay, I'm going to spray this brush. Hope this works. Yeah, you can still see it in the mirror a little bit too, can't you? Okay. still a little bit, not much. I am also going to paint the top of this wardrobe. I am going to wait until I have my step ladder to get up there, and I won't bore you guys with that part, but I am going to paint the top as well. Again, if someone has an office or a house with a second level and they can see it from up above, not painting the top would be kind of bad. All right, I'm dipping back into the paint. Gouge in the wood right here. I'm going to just go over it. I'm not going to try to put a lot of goopy paint on it. I'm just going to go over it just as thin as I am everywhere else, and then on the second coat it'll really cover it. You always have that tendency to go like, oh, I got to cover that with a bunch of paint real quick, but on your first time, you're just getting that thin layer on your base coat, almost like a primer. I am going to dap into that dingling inside. It's like really in there. Feather up. I'm going to dab here and here because there's a little bit of damage. When I say damage, it just means someone bumped into it with a sharp. You can see where it's little gouges. Okay, I'm going to lower this. This is the most boring part of this whole project, is getting that base color. Sometimes I just like to go ahead and get the base color on without you guys watching, and then do the technique part, which takes a lot more time than this and a lot more fun. All right, I'm going to be lazy again and sit down. Again, my brush is, my top of my can is over there, so I don't sit in it. Yay! I'm gonna spray my brush again. Again, this is the same brush I've been using this whole time. Same brush that I've used on over 100 projects over a year, maybe a little bit longer than a year. This is the Mini. If you only have enough money to spend on one really good brush, the Mini is my favorite. If you can only afford a chip brush, use a chip brush. Just know that it's going to show a little bit more brush strokes because of the way it's made. But you know what? I use the chip brushes because that's all I could afford for many years. And if you use a chip brush and just use light feathering, you can really get it. With this self-leveling paint that Dixie Belle has going on, you can still get a really good turnout. I hate when people insist you buy the most expensive brush and stuff, because I bought chip brushes at the dollar store and had to use them because that's all I had. That's all the money I had in the beginning. And that is fine. But for those of you who are like, hey, I'm ready to upgrade a little bit, the Dixie Belle Mini, or Dixie Belle Mini Angle, just means it's tapered. I don't have it like cut. Tapered. Those are my absolute favorites. I've used this on hundreds of projects. I think it's $39, which sounds like a lot, but when you think about it, I think once you're said and done, I've spent about 10 cents per project, and I'm still going, and that's cheaper than one of those throwaway foam brushes you get at the dollar store. So again, that's only if you're really getting into it and you're going to be doing lots of projects and you want to hold on to just one brush. It's good for recycling too, because I'm still using the same brush. I'm not throwing away a lot of brushes. I'm just using the same one over and over. For those of you who are really into recycling. There's some gouges there. You see the bottom? You're not going to see anything. Okay, the bottom, there's only like an inch you can't see, so I'm going to keep going. If any of you guys want to see this in person, we'll be open tomorrow, 2 to 6. I don't know what step it'll be in person. It may look just like this, or I may get a chance to come up here tonight or tomorrow morning before we open and work on it and get another coat and some other things I'm going to be working on it. So if you want to see it, stop by the other side Vintage in Tallahassee, Florida at River Square, 2 to 6, Tuesday through Friday this week. 12 to 4 this weekend. I am cross hatching here because there's some dings, and I'm just going this way and then this way and feathering it on for the first coat. It is already dry up there in spots. Can you see the difference? Wet, starting to dry up there. That's why it looks kind of like weird. It looks like something's wrong, but it's not. It's just dry. I'm going to get a little bit on the floor down here. You can't see that bottom edge because my piece of paper moved, but because it's water-based, I can wipe it up real quick with just a wet washcloth. So I'm not concerned. It's just a concrete floor. Okay. The veneer at the very bottom is definitely fraying, and it's due to, you know, age, maybe a little bit of water. Maybe it was sitting in a moist basement or something. Oh. My mom, I'm using my phone. My mom sent me a message of a something she saw on Pinterest, which we still do. Pinterest or Instagram, we always share pictures. Like, oh, we should do this at the store, like for a design or a vignette, or oh, I want to do this in my house. Or so if you heard that, that's what that was. Hey, Mom. I got a little bit on the floor where the paper wasn't, and I just used my fingers just to rub it. It's gone. Or you can use your spray bottle and just wipe it up real quick because it's just water-based. Even if it dries, I can get it up with a little razor blade or steel wool, or even a dish rag that has that scouring side. It comes right up. If you leave it for 4 or 5 days, it's going to be there. Because even if you put it in your clothes, you get it out right away, wash it right away, it comes right out, but after a couple days, it's cured and it becomes fabric paint. All right, again, part of it's drying, part of it's not. You can see the difference. That's why it looks kind of mottled. It will become all one color, one sheen. All right, now, do I dare go back and put one more coat on the vanity while I'm sitting? I'm pushing it time-wise, but I can tell that when you're in the mood to paint, just keep going. I do have an appointment to go to, but I have a little bit of time. Okay, I just noticed something. Pay attention. I missed this little part of the inset, and I'm just using what's left of my brush to get that. Feathering it on, going sideways. It's because I was standing one way and then I moved it. And that's okay, so just make sure you go back and look. I know, again, this is a garish color, but I promise you, it's going to be fun when it's done. All right, I'm going to try to push it back. See if you can do that without getting blue paint all over everything. I may have to leave it. This is a heavy piece. If this wasn't wet, I could manhandle it. Nope. And I just took some paint off, so let me touch that up really quick. All right, I lied. I'm not going to be able to move it back. I'll keep it where it's at. All right, let's see if we can just do this then. Not bad. See if that'll stay. All right, I'm going to just do another quick coat for a second. Like I said, moving things over so you can see. This is already dry, and it's going to be hard to tell from that far away. Move it closer. Hold on. Man, I'm ready. It's not like super hard work. It's just that I've got so much stuff to do. There. I still got to do the sides too. Like I said, I would do those when you're not watching. There we go. Okay. So since my brushes are still wet, damp water, and let's go back over this. If if you did a decent job on the first coat, your second coat is almost just like a dry brush. Meaning, I mean, yes, the paint's wet, but you're not having to put as much paint on. You just want to do thin coats each time to get that buildup. And then touch up any spots you missed or left from the first time. Now, if you start to do this and your paint starts peeling up from the first layer and you start to see the raw wood again, stop. It's not dry. It may seem like it's dry. You thought it was dry, but it's the humidity in Tallahassee. Everybody else does this. Texas, Utah, California, people that I just watch while they're painting, because I love how they do their stuff. They're like, oh, it's time to do it again. And I'm like, why is mine messed up? Why am I the only person that can't do this? And so then I was like, humidity. We have so much humidity. It isn't dry. It looks dry. It says it's dry, but again, if it's coming back up, just stop and step away and come back to it like in a little another hour. Right there, it's pulling a little bit of the paint, so I may stop. If I had this outside of my front porch, it would be baked and it would be done. Again, humidity though, with the rain chances. And because there's no smells, these paints have no smells whatsoever. I can paint inside finally. No headaches from fumes. Okay, it was pulling off on that seam. I'm gonna see if it's just that one spot or if I should stop completely. Over other different coats of paints. This base coat is not the final coat. Matter of fact, a lot of this base coat will be hidden from the other paint, so I'm okay with some of it not being perfect. If this was the final thing, like I'm just going to do blue and seal it, then I would let it really dry and maybe do like a third or fourth coat. I'm going to switch back to that oval medium again because I'm working on those insets. I'm going to spray it. Now this brush is, I haven't used it as much. I've used it a lot, but not 100 times. So the bristles are still really well defined, and sometimes that will make the paint come off. Who told me? I think it was Jason when I said, oh, that broom is horrible. It's like, it's time to go. And he's like, no, an old broom. Did he say his grandma told him? His Cuban grandma? I don't know. An old broom knows where to find the dirt, meaning because it's sprayed and that, but it can really get in there. So just try different brushes. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's switch it back. Nope, I'm going to keep, because this inset, I'm going to keep using this for a minute, the oval medium. Dipping in paint just a little bit, pulling it off. Like I said, just a feather light second coat, almost like you're dry brushing. Since I'm doing these insets, I decided to keep this brush. But again, I could use the mini and do this whole thing. It's just that when I started using the oval medium for others, it's just like tools, you know? You have your favorite tools, makes it go faster. And it's a preference thing. Some people hate one thing over another, so I just say what works for you. If a chip brush works, use a chip brush. I'm liking this. I'm still seeing some little dings down here in the veneer that I missed, but because I'm doing this technique, which we'll talk about later, we'll be working on later, it'll cover that, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Again, if this was the main color and it was just going to be this and clear coat, then I would definitely do 3 or 4 coats on this and get everything, but because it's going to be this funky boho that I'm so excited to work on, having a little bit of wood show is awesome. I love to have 3 to 4, sometimes 5 colors, and one of those colors would be the wood, the original wood. That counts, like if it's showing through or you're distressing or if it comes back. So just keep that in mind. It makes it look more authentic and fun. But not if this is your main color. Like if this is the color, then you don't want. A lot of people don't like the I don't want to call it shabby chic, but you know what I'm saying. They don't want it to be distressed. They want it just to be perfectly done. Kind of like factory finish. Some people don't like the boho fun stuff. They like traditional, and I love a good traditional, crisp, class piece of furniture, but boho is so much more fun for me. It's kind of like the reason why we're not located in a mall. Nothing against a mall. There's lots of other businesses and you each help each other, but it's very, very traditional. It's mallish. You come down to Railroad Square and you never know day to day what you're going to see. There's so many different colors on the buildings. There's artists outside painting. There's the comic book store. There's restaurants. There's so much music and things to do and see, and people sitting outside having picnics. Now I know it's COVID right now, so I'm not saying or suggesting or not wear masks. Let's not get into that. I'm just saying the reason why we're not in a mall is Railroad Square fits us, because you can have classic traditional stuff, but you can also have amazing funky colors. Like take a walk on the wild side, you know, the funky part of town. Come to Railroad Square, you guys. Come check us out. And yes, that is a plug. RailroadSquare.com. We love our neighborhood. Like, our neighbors are fantastic. I'm just feathering over that handle. Alright, I'm going to wet my brush. I'm probably right in the way on that. See how it looks purple again because it's not dry? It is Cobalt. Very race car-ish Cobalt. I think I get that from my brother and my dad, and probably Jeannie too. The race car colors, blues, make me think of race cars and boats, and I grew up on boats that went really fast. So, yeah, it just makes me think of those kind of things, race cars and boats. Starting to like this. I do notice over here there's a section where the wood, even though I totally professionally cleaned it and stuff, it's pulling back just a little bit, which tells me there's a little bit of oil still there, maybe off fingers, like maybe this is the most used area right around the handles, which is usually typical. Coming back just a little bit. I'm going to finish what I'm doing, and then I'm going to see whether to let that dry again for like another hour and just touch up this one part of the drawer, or just let it go, because when I do that other technique again, I kind of want a boho look, so it's okay if some of it doesn't, like the wood shows through. But I'm watching this little piece right here. It's not happy right here, and that's okay. If you were into perfection, this would drive you crazy. But if you're into like, hey, and this is how I started, by the way. You know how you get those coloring books to help you with anxiety and stress? Because I have extreme anxiety disorder. If you ever come to the store and I'm like talking to you and I kind of just zip away, my panic attack is kicking in. There's times when I don't even leave the house, so because of the stress of it all. I just do stuff from home. But anyways, so I would color these coloring books, and they were fun, but when you got done, you put all this work and effort to it, and you're like, I'm like a little kid. I want to put this on the refrigerator. I want to enjoy my artwork. Like, I worked hard on this. I don't want to just throw it away. So then it was like, painting furniture is very similar. You take a piece that no one really wanted, or just repurposing. It doesn't have to be damaged or found or, you know, or anything wrong with it, but just paint it. It's just paint. You paint blue on this, paint it back over white. It can go back to it. You can even sand it back down and go back to the veneer of this particular piece. But then you have something you worked really hard on, and it's functional art, meaning you can use it. It's furniture. And so then I only need so much furniture in my house, so we start painting, and I don't know, it's a lot of fun. So someone's gonna love it. I know a lot of you are gonna send me a lot of emails like, why did you paint that color? But trust me, it's fun. Just have fun. It's no different than me coloring in a coloring book and then throwing the piece away. I am creating something that someone's going to use. It's functional art. I'm not an artist. Now, Barbara Simmons, Jim Russell, Carrie Ann Body, those people are true artists. Callan Lunt. This is just painting furniture. So if you feel like, oh, what if I mess up? Or whoa, what if I do this? Or what if I do that? Furniture painting is the best thing for you because you can't mess up. You just paint over it again. Okay, this is that part that was decoupaged, that faux work, and it is pulling back already. So that tells me let it dry longer. I'm going to try to put a light coat here on the same piece. But because that part, you know what, I'm going to do exactly what I said not to do. I'm not going to add some water. I'm just going to try to put a little bit more there. Now that's going to probably, yeah, it's already, so exactly what I said not to do. It's coming back at me, meaning it's coagulating already. So I know that part had a little bit of oil left on it. Even though you wipe it down and wipe it down, we wiped it down, what, 7 times after the original wipe down, there's going to be places, like I talked about, that come back. So instead of me before trying to fix it right now, let it go. I'm going to do a little bit of a sanding pad. We sell, well, no, I'm out of them. Rad pads, sand pads, you can get them anywhere. We'll get some more in a couple weeks. You're just going to touch up that one little spot and then gingerly tap your paint back there. After it dries, probably tomorrow, because I'm not going to be here much longer. But before I get really frustrated and work with it, and then I realize, just have fun. Let it dry, like I was talking about child before, a child that's like mean and I'm not happy, I don't want that for dinner, I don't want this. Just step away, let them simmer down, let it simmer down, let it rest, let it dry, then come back to it, and it'll be fine. So let's see, I'm going to be working over here. Can you see the difference now between one coat, 2 coats, 1 coat, 2 coats, 1 coat, 2 coats? I'm going to spray my brush a little bit. Yeah, it's pulling back a little bit there too. So I have a note. I might switch brushes because the mini, because I've used it so much, I can get a little bit lighter touch, and because this has, let's see, there. This one's a little splayed like an old broom, so it's a little bit better equipped than this one. Sometimes having an older brush is better for some uses. So I'm gonna continue to use this right here, but then I might use the mini over there. I can tell it's dragging, so it's really not liking. And this is where that decoupage piece was on, that little accenting that they used, a little cheat sheet, so to speak. Like, they used a print of an inlay of wood and put that on there to make it look like a fancy old piece, when it wasn't. Real. And that's taking the paint differently than the actual wood veneer. So I'm going to feather that out, and then I'm going to step away. Step away from the furniture, ma'am. Step away from the furniture. No, step away from that part. Let it be. It's not happy, so I'm going to let it do its thing. Alright, I'm going to switch back to the mini. I am going to wet it down because it's been sitting there for a minute. Again, this is the same brush, like how, and I'm just going to rinse all that out. And I'll be using this brush tomorrow. This side is where that veneer was all cracked. and it is taking the paint like it is a grateful rescue kitty. It loves it. It says thank you for giving me a new life. It was thirsty. It just needed some loving, some paint. It likes it. Yeah, and now I can't even see the broken veneer. I know at this angle you probably can't see it either, but it really sucked in that paint and likes it. Can I move this whole thing? If I drop this whole thing, I'm sorry. There. A little bit better, but you still can't see that veneer, but it's okay. Alright, I'm going to be in the way a little bit. Maybe I should move it back. I hate that noise. I usually have things on rollers. Alright, almost done. I keep saying I'm going to go, but then I get delayed and I just have such a good time. This has been very therapeutic for me. I know I've been boring you guys. Let me tell you, I've been waking up in tears with everything going on, especially, I mean, all over, but this is my hometown of Tallahassee. It's scary to see what all is going on, and so many people, and even my friends that are good people who are out, you know, letting their word be known. There's so much feistiness. I posted something about something simple, and I got these like, oh, yeah, well, how about this and this? I'm like, I just posted. I wasn't looking for, like, and so then I realized, stop posting. Like, I'm not one of those people. I'm just going to get quiet. When I get quiet, doesn't mean that I don't agree. It doesn't mean that I disagree. It just means, and they say, don't get quiet. Let your voice be heard. But when my voice got heard, it was crazy. There's just too much. Sometimes, again, a petulant child, you just got to simmer down. They can be screaming at you, I don't want that. I don't want that for dinner. I don't want this. I want to do this. I want to go to Jackie's. I want to do this. I want to do this. Just shut up and let them simmer down. And that's kind of what I'm doing with my personal Facebook and Instagram. I'd much rather go to San Luis Park and take pictures of nature and post those than even talk about what's going on right now, because it doesn't matter what I say. If I want to protest, I will. If I don't, I won't. I just can't condone what's going on. But I'm going to wait and let people simmer down. I'll say this, some of you may not know this, but we reopened, because we can, but only for a couple hours, and watching all the guidelines, and we wear a mask. I'm not wearing a mask right now because we're closed and I'm the only person here, but we wear a mask. We've had people yell at us for wearing masks. Like, I'm never shopping with you again because you're wearing a mask. You're part of the problem. And I'm like, and then I have people thanking us for wearing a mask, and then I have people, you know, it just, you can't win. Everyone has an opinion and the right to their opinions, but when they start shouting at you in your own store, which is your home away from home, and all you're doing is wearing a mask to supposedly protect them and yourself, like you're doing more than you have to do, and they're yelling at you like you're some kind of conspiracist or anti-American or any of that. Like, no, not going to yell at us. Just don't come in. Don't come in if you don't like it. People are so wild right now. Okay, there's a spot over here that's also, as I'm painting it, it's coming back to the base of the wood. I'm getting a message, but I can't read it. Not like from one of you guys. I can't read the message. It might be from our Instagram, but anyways, follow us on Instagram, The Other Side Vintage. Please follow us on Facebook, The Other Side Vintage, which you are if you're watching this, I'm pretty sure. Share this if you can. All right, I am going to touch up here. I really do need to get out of here. Almost time for lunch, huh? Okay, I'm going to stand up very ungracefully. Ta-da! Can you see? that. Nope, you can't. So here we go. Time. Move that up a little bit. Excuse my appearance. I'm wearing my painting outfit. This is that inset that no one's going to see, but I am painting it. And why am I painting it? Because when someone opens that mirror up, there's a little mirror that fits in here, and then you take it out to put your you know, brush or your makeup or whatever it was, your little hiding spot or whatever you wanted. I didn't want them to open it up and just be raw. I wanted it to be painted as well to make it really finished. Brush is dry. Back there again, this is that faux veneer. Sorry, not veneer. That's that faux decoupage piece they put on there. So anywhere that's at, I can tell it isn't like the paint on the second coat. It's pulling back still, so it needs more time to dry. It's telling me what it wants, and I'm listening. Again, I'm just kind of doing that dry brush. Dry. Time for lunch, definitely. Dry brush technique on the second coat. There. To the top of that, and they're having a hard time seeing that. A little bit. I know I'm right in the way. Along. I'm really liking this. I know it's really hard to read this color on camera. It comes off really purplish. Remember, move this before you sit it. Sit it over there. Man, there's a really big difference. I know you can't see it, but the one behind me, the one coat versus the second coat, huge difference. Just to think that I'm going to cover up most of it with a whole different color. Here I am. This is why you should always wear a paint shirt. That way you can just wipe your hands off. It's mostly the water dripping down from the brush from me misting it so much, so that's why. Alrighty. A little bit more. You guys, we appreciate you following us and sharing about us and shopping with us, but if you can't, the way you can help us is just, well, sharing I just said, but you can help us by having lunch or dinner with the Crumb Box. I call it Pete's Meats because Pete owns it and he makes wonderful meats, he makes vegetarian, all kinds of stuff. Support Pete by shopping at the Crumb Box, please. Just get it to go for lunch, for your whole office, for dinner, whatever. I mean, you can spend $100 for lunch for a whole office, I mean, at a commercial franchise. And I understand that. I eat out too. I eat franchise places too. But that $100 to Pete means a lot and keeps him open in business. So we appreciate that. And he's part of our square. The Craft House, also locally owned. Our friends over there, food, alcohol. Pete has alcohol too. O Lemonade, right across the street from us, just added some amazing things to their menu. They're in the House of Plywood, the building right across from us, and of course the Square Mug right across the street from us. Coffee, all kinds of things, locally owned, and Donna does an amazing job for food pantries and the community. So if you guys could please spend some money at our food vendors at Railroad Square, I'd really appreciate it. Go to Railroad Square on Facebook page, and we post about stuff all the time. Other stores, if you can shop it. And if I'm gonna miss some, Village Co-op, Sensible Style, Savvy Salvage, Thrift, Curio. We love Jackie at Curio. Once Upon a Time Vintage. We love the Davis family. Sensible, is it Sensible Style? No, I said Sensible Style. Sabotage, the Halfway Point, the Marketplace, the Feeling Art. All those are in the quote back row of Railroad Square. Please support them. Please follow them on Facebook. Tell them Zan said hi. Please, even if you don't think you're going to shop with them, at least heart them, follow them, share about them. It makes a huge difference for these locally owned families. All right, there's my little please help thing. Okay, almost done. Going around the mirror. Using this oval medium. Oh, I would be in trouble if I didn't also say my brother, whose birthday is today, Doug Walker. Say happy birthday to him on Facebook. But he owns RPM Auto and Truck Repair, and he owns a trolling motor business where he fixes trolling motors. If you have a boat, speaking boats, Harry Smith Outdoors here at Railroad Square. If you could shop with them, RPM 562-7222. My brother, my uncle, my dad, my grandmother, my nephew, all of them work there. And they also have the patio shop, the concrete store that's connected. So the patio shop, RPM Auto, please help them. That would be wonderful. Even if you just follow them on Facebook. Really would appreciate it. I wish you could see the difference between the second one, but I know it's not reading. I'm going to be right in the way. I got to call it a day, you guys. If it's home, I would just eat lunch and then wait an hour and go back at this after doing some paperwork, but I got to get back home. Today is my day off. We're closed today. What do I want to do on my day off? I want to paint. I want to be up here. My home away from home. The other side vintage, Railroad Square, some peace and quiet. I don't even have the radio on right now. And I'm a huge music person. I love to play music on paint. And there, yes, I'm getting some on the mirror, but I said earlier, all I'll have to do is take a mini razor blade, or a little bit of steel wool right here, and it'll come right off. So there's no reason to have to take off your mirror and do all that extra work when you don't have to. It comes right off. It works really well. All right. So excited because this is the part that's like, eh. The other part is the next part that I'm going to use some major little application in the fun part. The fun part is the glamming it up. Boho chic style. Some of you may call it garish. I call it fun. Alright, then. Getting the side of this inset. Like I said, always look at all the different angles, and I just realized I missed underneath here. Guys, this is awesome. I'm not saying I'm awesome. I'm saying this piece of furniture is awesome. Now that it's covered, and you don't see all the veneer issues and stuff like that, it really does pop. Now when someone sees it, they don't say, oh, that's broken. They just say, oh, that's a really bright blue. Alright, let's see. Can I get low enough without making you sick? Now I know it's still drying. Get that. But over here, oh, I don't know if I can do this without, yeah, you can't see. The inset was totally damaged. Over here there's pieces missing, but you don't really see it now, and especially when I put the next layer on and the glam on, you're gonna really like this piece. Okay, since I'm doing this, I know I'm making you all sick. This is the piece behind me. Now that's one coat. See how some of it's really, really dark and some of it's like a, let's see, right here, this is still wet. This is drying. This is still wet. Drying, wet. So this piece is taking a little bit longer to dry because right now I normally would switch over and start putting the second coat on this piece. But watch it. Dry, a little damp still. And also, when I do the second coat, it's gonna be more this color than that color. It'll show up. And then when I choose the clear coat, I'm not gonna go flat. I'm gonna definitely do a sheen, either a satin or a glossy. I'm thinking glossy. And then you won't even know, you won't be like, oh, it's that chalk paint, that flat and matte. It's gonna be glossy and glam. See up here, let's see, that is there. See this over here? Broken. See the middle part? Oh, I'm gonna make you sick. It's missing, but now you don't really see it as much. See, it's missing that middle part. Now that it's gonna be all one color, at least for now, it really hides that damage. There was damage to this veneer. Can you see this detailing? Yeah, now we're getting in there. That's why I use that oval medium. I really wanted to get into all these little bumpy bumps, niches, sorry, etc. So a lot of detailing. And now it's gonna pop instead of looking just broken, and part of it was missing colors, and when I put the extra on there. So yeah, I'll choose the other, sorry, look at me, I'm a really big mess. Anytime I put on makeup, mascara, the whole, I don't see anyone. And I don't film live, I'm like, anytime I'm like, I'm gonna do this, I might as well film live. No makeup on. Alright you guys, thank you for watching. My name is Zan. Our family owns The Other Side Vintage at Railroad Square. Please follow us, theothersidevintage.com. You'll find the links on the very front of the page to our Etsy, our eBay, our Instagram, our Poshmark, our whatever. And if you scroll down, because you'll think it's just that one spot, if you just scroll down, you'll see all our Instagram pictures. The most current 20 pictures will be right below, and you can click on those and it'll take you straight to our Instagram as well. So thank you for shopping with us. Order some paint and we'll ship it to you. Go to our Instagram and order some clothes or any knickknacks or what have you, or follow us on Facebook or Instagram and YouTube, The Other Side Vintage, and go to railroadsquare.com on Facebook and Instagram and follow that. Please support all of us local businesses. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and wait till you see what happens to this hot mess. Thanks, you guys.